really kind of a pedantic correction, but yeah, you're not always buying a dividend. Sometimes you are buying the reinvestment into future capital projects, like buying tech stocks. Hey guys, welcome to a new little series of video that I am working on here. I want to call it the chopping block. Basically, I'm going to take a look at some other finance YouTubers. We're going to sit down in our cozy little desk setup here, a couple of candles, we got our drink, and we're going to react to some finance videos, and I'm going to tell you what I agree with, what I don't agree with. Go ahead and drop a like on the video and let me know who you want me to react to next time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, turn on that notification bell. Today we're going to be reacting to Gray and Stephan's newest video called Passive Income, How to Invest $100 ASAP. I'm going to take a look at some of the ideas he suggests, see what I think, see if I agree, where I would change it, and we'll go from there. Let's jump into it.
So imagine if you had an extra $5, $10, or even $20 a day deposited into your bank account without you having to do any work whatsoever.
That'd be pretty nice, an extra $5, $10, $20 a day without having to do any work.
What color would your Lambo be? Alright, in all seriousness, someone has tried pretty much every single passive income idea in existence, I'll admit. Most of them are a complete waste of time, they'll take you forever to build, and financially you'd probably be better off just working a minimum wage job instead.
Right, honestly, for the amount of capital it takes to make an appreciable amount of money in an investment to live off of, it's not going to work. You know, say you have $1 million in a GIC at 4%, which is a pretty good rate, but it's attainable right now. That only pays $40,000 a year. So, you know, to create that $40,000 a year in income, you have to have $1 million up front. So that's definitely right. If you don't have the capital, I mean, you can do a little bit, but pretty much just stick to trying to get a real job for now kind of thing.
And even though you're not going to get rich overnight, the good news is that you would be able to get started today with as little as $100. And if you could simply get the basics down, you'd be able to rinse and repeat these exact same strategies to eventually work your way up to $100 a day. Even though some people say that passive income is not a real thing, it doesn't exist, it's not possible, I'll be the first to tell you that yes, it is real, it does exist, but it's probably a lot different than what you would expect.
Yeah, no, Graham is right there. Passive income, genuine passive income does actually exist. I haven't watched this video yet, but things like dividend paying stocks, GICs, those are truly passive income. The only, I guess unless you consider truly passive to be zero action at all, but I mean, all those take is your initial buy of the investment, and then you've got income for as long as it's invested for. So yeah, no, there definitely is truly passive income out there. You just got to find it.
If you're looking for the simplest, easiest, no work approach to making true passive income, as in you literally do nothing besides collect money, then you might want to consider buying into dividends.
Yeah, completely true. Dividends are great. One of the things that I like about dividend stocks is that they are truly just free income, basically. Usually your blue chips, but not necessarily tech stocks, but things like banks, railroads, those kind of stocks will pay dividends. So you will get a certain amount for every piece of stock that you own. So say you have 10 shares in TD Bank, for example, and they announce a $1 dividend for that quarter, then you're going to get $10 just for owning that stock. Now, if you wanted to even go a step further than dividend, you could go to a preferred share dividend. The way you value preferred shares is the dividend amount divided by the growth rate to get your intrinsic value of that dividend. So these are great. You don't necessarily get the same voting rights in a company for making decisions, but they're paid before common shareholders if there's a bankruptcy, and you're paid dividends before common shareholders as well. So you're one step up in kind of that payment order compared to common shareholders. So preferred share dividends are even a step up above just regular common share dividend accounts and can really make you some money.
But buying into a company does entitle you to a portion of their profits, and that's usually in the form of a dividend.
Yeah, so when Graham says there, buying a company is buying a portion of their profits, that's exactly what share ownership is. You're buying an entitlement to the future cash flow of that company. Now, the way he worded it, saying that you're buying a dividend, dividends are not the only way to distribute capital gains in a company, net income in a company. You can also have it reinvested through retained earnings into future projects. Depending on the type of primary investor a company has, they may prefer to pay dividends if they have elderly, more fixed income type investors owning their company. If they have younger people who are more into long-term gains, then they may roll that into their retained earnings and use that to fund future capital projects.
Of course, not every stock pays a dividend, but usually when they do, they range anywhere between 1 and 10% depending on the company. Although most of the time you'll find the strongest companies paying anywhere between 1 to 5% every single year, and chances are that is going to be the easiest passive income you're ever going to make in your entire life.
Yeah, so when Graham says 1 to 5% every year, that's dead on. A lot of companies will set their dividend rates at what they consider to be a sustainable payout, because when you're taking a look at stock market signals, having a company raise their dividend shows that management theoretically has confidence in their performance going forward. And if a company is lowering their dividend, it could be considered a negative sell signal. So they're going to do everything that they can to avoid that. So companies with consistent dividends are going to be the ones you're going to want to look for. I would shy away from ones that are changing quite a bit or have taken a big spike, unless you believe in the company and you think that it's worth what they're doing and they are going to be able to sustain that going forward.
The benefit from an investment standpoint is that you'll be able to receive predictable cash flow on a regular basis without having to sell any shares. And this gives you leftover money that you could then use to buy even more investments that will then make you even more money.
Yeah, the other thing to watch for with dividends is that they are taxed as income. Now, if you are a Canadian citizen owning Canadian company dividends, then you are taxed at a lower rate than if you are a Canadian owning American or other foreign stocks. So that's something to keep in mind as well. If you're living in Canada, focus on buying domestic dividend paying shares because you will pay less taxes. The other thing too to watch with dividends is to make sure that whoever you're buying your shares through, if they have a DRIP, dividend reinvestment plan, to make sure that you are opted out of that if you're wanting to collect dividends as cash.
The average dividend cut is just a mere 0.5% compared to the stock market's average decline of 32%.
Yeah, and like I say, that's purely just negative signaling theory there. If things are already looking bad for a company, if their share price is down and then management cuts dividend, that's a really good signal that things are looking bad for the long term.
Compare that to Apple, which is up 219%, Amazon, which is up 60%, or Facebook, which is, well, okay, maybe not Facebook. That's a bad example. That's why it's important to pick your dividend stocks very wisely and invest in companies because of their strong long-term financials, not just because they pay a high dividend.
That is a really good point there. With some of the examples that he used, I would even stay away from just tech stocks in general when you're taking a look at dividend shares. The problem with tech is that tech will see big ramp-ups and big fall downs because tech is a luxury good. When you're looking at dividend payments, I would stick to companies that have slow growth, that are well developed in their industry. Like I say, things like big banks in Canada, railroad companies, natural resources, those kind of things, I personally think are better dividend paying stocks than tech stocks are, like Graham is suggesting.
Now, second, if you don't want to take the risk picking individual stocks, in which case I don't blame you, you could also take my personal favorite approach with an index fund. This is basically a big basket of stocks that you could buy into for one low price, and that way you'll own a small piece of everything.
Yeah, this is a good tip right here. Index funds are fantastic. I am really not a fan of picking individual shares personally. You can, but the problem is that doing fundamental investment analysis does take a good amount of time if you want to do it correctly. And I think I said it in my last video, it's one of those things that's really easy to do when everything is going up. But when things actually are starting to get a bit dicey like they are right now, it's a lot more difficult to make the right decisions. Index funds are the way to do it, and I mean, there's an index fund for everything now, especially in Canada. You can buy, real estate investment trust, you can buy dividend, growth, income, mixture of the two, like pretty much anything you want, you can get in an index fund. So great product, great recommendation, Graham. Thumbs up.
So instead, an index fund was created as a way to track the entire market and simplify investing without having to dump everything into Carvana. And index fund investing has outperformed the vast majority of professional investors over a 20-year period.
Yeah, index funds really are better than mutual funds, I think. Graham might be missing a little bit there, though, is that for the average person, and again, probably not the kind of person who's watching this video, mutual funds are great because they give people who have zero idea about anything that Graham is talking about the confidence, because there is a person that picks those. People get a little bit wary when, say, a computer picks it or you're just basing it off of something like that. People do like to see when someone is in there kind of working with things. It makes them feel like they have a personal touch, something that they're gaining from it.
You're going to make more money doing this than any other stock market investment that you could think of. And in terms of passive income, here's how you can make that a reality. First, you'll receive a dividend. But you could also combine that with number 2, the stock price increasing. And third, this plays into what's called the 4% rule. This was a strategy invented back in 1994 and used as a method of calculation to make sure you never run out of money in retirement.
Yeah, so again, nothing Graham's saying here I would disagree with. The nice thing is you're getting a bunch of dividends from a bunch of different stocks for the fractional ownership of it. When you own the index fund, you are getting the stock price growth when things are moving. And yeah, that is a great way to take care of the 4% rule. When I had said the GIC example at the start of the thing there, what we call the 4% rule is basically the safe amount of money you can withdraw per year over time without affecting your principal. Now, you might affect the principal inter-year, but then there's going to be years where your investments return more than 7%, making up for that. So 4% is what we call the safe withdrawal rule. Index funds, great way to set up your retirement. One stop, one buy, easy peasy.
Just imagine it like every $1 that you have is turned into a worker where its only job is to go and find pennies to bring back into your account. But once you have hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of little workers out there all bringing you back pennies at the exact same time, working 24/7 even when you're not, it begins to add up.
There's one thing I think I respect about Graham professionally, despite the fact that he is a realtor, he's not an investment advisor or anything, is that he does a really good job explaining things. Like I say, that's exactly what the 4% rule is. For every dollar you have, it goes out and finds a few cents and brings that back. So like I say, if you have $1 million, you can withdraw $40,000 per year, and theoretically, that $1 million will just continue to produce that income. So yeah, he does a great job of explaining it there.
That's why if you want to make a lot of passive income, the highest yielding investment that you can make is in education.
This is huge. I don't think enough people think about this, and I think that the whole kind of TikTok, hustle culture, Instagram has really taken away from how important education is, and has encouraged a lot of people to skip school. Now, I'm not saying that university is necessarily for everybody, but I do actually think that the vast majority of people would benefit from some sort of education in whatever they're interested in. You know, for example, I have a business management diploma from a local community college, and then I also have my Canadian securities course, and right now I'm working on my accounting degree so I can do my CPA. So, you know, that is taking me out of the workforce as a 25-year-old. It's costing me student loans. Right now I don't have a job, so, you know, it's costing me a lot of money, but that's an investment I'm making in myself to make, you know, 75, 80, 90,000, if not more. There's a ton of opportunities out there to go to school without having to necessarily go to university or college, but definitely invest in yourself in some way. Go get some sort of education, advance yourself, and work this. This is the most important muscle that you have, as cringe as that is.
Now, fourth, you could also take a more practical approach, and even though it's not a lot, you could use $100 towards starting a business.
Yeah, Graham makes a good point here, honestly. When I was just finished college, I was doing a small business doing photography for some car dealerships locally. So I would charge, I think it was 10 or 15 bucks a car. I would go, I had a set of photos that I took, edit them, and upload them to their website. I kind of stopped doing it because honestly it sucks to do car photos at 5 o'clock when it's getting dark on January 30th in Manitoba here. So I kind of stopped doing that after a few months. But yeah, I mean, I just used the camera I already had and a little bit of free time and got her done there. So definitely starting a business can be a way to generate more income where it could eventually be passive. I could have scaled that up, hired photographers, built the business and stuff like that.
Plenty of social media businesses that were started for nothing out of pocket. They just found a common problem that creators were facing, provided a solution, and then worked for free until they proved themselves. Like right now, there's a huge opportunity to take long-form content like this and then chop it up into TikToks, Reels, and Shorts.
Yeah, absolutely. That is actually huge. If you have some editing skill and you can take a 10-minute story and parse it down into a 45-second story, you can make a ton of money right now.
Most people have no idea this is even an opportunity. The business itself is going to cost you pretty much nothing to start up besides your time. And once you begin to understand how this works, you could outsource almost everything. On top of that, I know it's now the most cliche thing ever to say, but you could also take $100 and start your own YouTube channel. I know this is one of the biggest, easier said than done tactics to make money, but the reality is, if you enjoy talking to the camera alone in a room and it's Saturday at I guess it's almost 7 p.m. then hey, if that's your idea of a fun Saturday night, then be my guest and save me.
Graham, I get it, man. It's 12:21 on a Thursday. I'm sitting, I should be making lunch or doing accounting homework. I'm sitting in my living room under a blanket with candles lit with some orange lights reacting to a YouTube video alone. Yeah, if you like doing weird stuff like this, if someone was to walk in and be like, bro, then yeah, start a YouTube channel. It's great, it's fun.
For example, when I started creating YouTube videos, I filmed everything on my iPhone that I already had. I edited for free using iMovie on my computer that I learned to edit on for free by watching YouTube videos, and I talked about my experience in real estate.
Yeah, that's something I do try to tell people if they are interested in making YouTube videos is to just start. You got a great camera in your pocket every day with you. It doesn't have to be the best looking or the best produced. You just have to tell an interesting story and do something that people want to watch.
Finally, if you could use the above suggestions to turn that $100 into $500, you could look into what's called credit card churning.
Yeah, credit card churning is definitely possible. I think it's more of an American thing, to be honest. Like, we have bank account openings, but then you have to, you know, switch your bill payments, your payroll over. You can get bonus points on credit cards, but it's not necessarily enough to pay off. So that's one of those your mileage may vary kind of things. I think that credit card churning is more of an American thing than a Canadian one. So thank you for watching, guys. We're going to end the reaction there since the last one is probably not super relevant to us. Let me know what you thought of the format and any improvements I could make, and give me some of your passive income tips down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.